You have felt it for as long as you can remember, even before you had language for it, even before you understood how people form their circles and decide who feels familiar and who feels unsettling. You knew your life carried a difference that could not be explained by talent, background, or personality alone. You walked into rooms and felt watched without invitation. You spoke simple truths, and somehow those truths sounded too heavy for people who preferred surfaces. You loved deeply, yet many still kept you at a distance. This did not happen because you failed to belong. It happened because your spirit was marked before many around you ever learned how to recognize what was holy. What confuses people about you is not always what you say. It is what your presence awakens. There is something in you that resists imitation. You do not fully bend to the patterns that make others comfortable. You cannot laugh too long at what grieves your spirit. You cannot celebrate what God has shown you is empty. Even when you try to blend in, something in your life keeps rising back to the surface, reminding you that you were never created to disappear into ordinary compromise. That is why people misread you. They call you distant when you are discerning. They call you intense when you are alert. They call you strange when heaven has simply placed a different weight upon your life. The reason they still do not understand you is because your marking is not cosmetic. It is spiritual. God did not place his hand on you for decoration. He marked you for distinction. He marked you so that confusion could not permanently claim you, so that darkness could not easily swallow you, so that even in seasons when you felt forgotten, the seal of heaven remained on your life. What others interpret as isolation has often been preservation. What they call rejection has often been redirection. What felt like delay was sometimes divine restraint, because your calling could not be trusted to every environment or every voice. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah, chapter 1, verse 5. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. That word explains the ache you have carried. You were set apart before you were understood. You were known before you were named by people. You were claimed by God before the world formed its opinions about you. This is why your journey has never followed a common pattern. The mark on your life is older than the rejection, stronger than the labels, and holier than the misunderstanding. So stop measuring yourself by the comfort level of people who cannot interpret what God has authored. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are marked differently on purpose. Like this message. Share it with someone who feels set apart. Subscribe for the next part. And comment 117 if you know God has marked your life differently. And because that mark has always been on you, the misunderstanding often cuts deepest when it comes from the people closest to you. Strangers can judge you and move on, but when the ones you love misread your heart, question your motives, or treat your difference like a problem to be fixed, the wound reaches into places words can barely touch. You try to explain yourself. Yet the more honestly you speak, the more some people stare back at you as if you are speaking a language they were never taught to hear. That pain is real. It is not weakness to admit that rejection from familiar hands leaves a heavier bruise than opposition from distant faces. Still, there is a reason this has been allowed in your life. God has not exposed you to that ache to destroy your heart, but to refine your dependence. When those closest to you cannot validate what heaven is doing, you are forced to choose whether your identity will be built on human recognition or divine confirmation. That choice is not small. It is part of your training. A chosen life cannot be sustained by applause, because applause disappears too quickly. A marked life must learn to stand when love feels scarce, when support feels thin, and when the room that should have celebrated you becomes the room that doubts you most. Many around you only understand categories they have seen before. If your obedience does not resemble their habits, they grow suspicious. If your peace remains during pressure, they call it detachment. If your boundaries become stronger, they say you have changed. They do not realize that God sometimes separates your spirit from old patterns before He separates your feet from old places. That inner separation can make even familiar relationships feel strained, because what once held you can no longer hold the person you are becoming. You are not dishonoring your journey by noticing this. You are recognizing that growth has a cost, and one of those costs is being misunderstood by people who only knew your earlier self. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms, chapter 27, verse 10. Though my father and mother forsake me, the Lord will receive me. That word does not celebrate abandonment, but it reveals a holy truth inside it. When human understanding fails, divine reception remains. When people pull back, God does not step away. When affection becomes unstable, His covering does not loosen. This is why you have survived moments that should have broken your confidence. The Lord has been receiving you in secret, strengthening you in silence, and holding you together while others wondered why you no longer fit the shape they expected. Their confusion is not the final verdict over your life. God's acceptance is. That is why your light does not merely inspire people, it exposes them. This is the part many never say aloud, but your presence has a way of disturbing what others work hard to keep hidden. You step into a space carrying sincerity, and suddenly masks begin to slip. You speak with peace, and restless hearts become uncomfortable. You choose integrity, and those who built themselves on performance start feeling the pressure of your quiet authenticity. It is not because you are trying to provoke anyone. It is because heaven placed something on your life that makes darkness feel seen. People often imagine spiritual warfare as noise, confrontation, and visible conflict. But many of your hardest battles happen in silence. You enter a room with no intention to challenge anyone, yet the atmosphere shifts. You remain calm, and someone becomes strangely defensive. You tell the truth gently, and another person reacts as if you attacked them. What is happening is deeper than personality. The light on your life creates contrast, and contrast makes hidden things harder to protect. That is why some people resist you before they even know your story. Something in them recognizes that your presence interrupts their agreement with shadows. This has likely made you question yourself before. You may have wondered why certain people seem irritated by your boundaries, unsettled by your joy, or suspicious of your discernment. You may have blamed yourself for tensions you did not create, but not every negative reaction is proof that you are wrong. Sometimes it is evidence that what lives in you cannot comfortably coexist with what others refuse to surrender. Your life becomes a mirror, and many people do not mind a mirror until it shows them what they have avoided. That is why your path requires courage. To carry God's mark means accepting that your existence will reveal things even when your mouth is still. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 14, "You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden." Notice the force of that truth. Light does not negotiate with darkness. It does not ask permission to shine. It simply reveals. And if God says you cannot be hidden, then you must stop apologizing for the holy difference He placed on your life. You are not too much. You are not accidentally intense. You are carrying visibility that heaven intended. The discomfort others feel is not always about you personally. Often it is the collision between what is true and what has been concealed for too long. So stand firm. Let God teach you when to speak, when to be silent, and when to walk away without explaining the fire he placed inside you. Comments still shining as your declaration that hidden darkness will never silence the light God placed within you. So the isolation was never random. It was not proof that you had been abandoned, and it was not a sign that your life had fallen out of divine order. It was protection. There are seasons when God removes you from constant access, not because you are unwanted, but because your calling is too weighty to be shaped by every opinion, every distraction, and every atmosphere that does not honor what He placed within you. You called it loneliness, but heaven often called it shelter. You called it being overlooked, but God called it being hidden for the right time. This is one of the hardest truths for a chosen life to accept. You naturally want clarity, companionship, and visible movement. Yet God often does His deepest work in places where applause cannot reach you. He will let the noise die down around you so you can hear Him with greater precision. He will allow certain relationships to fade so your soul stops leaning on voices that confuse your discernment. He will close doors without explanation because some environments look welcoming while quietly draining your strength. Isolation, in these moments, becomes a holy boundary. It is how God keeps your oil from being contaminated before the next assignment unfolds. The difficulty is that hidden seasons can feel unproductive when measured by human standards. You may look around and think others are advancing while you are being delayed. But spiritual preparation rarely looks impressive from the outside. Roots grow in secret. Strength forms in silence. Discernment sharpens when distractions lose their grip. God is not only preserving you from attack, He is preparing you for impact. The distance you resent today may be the very thing that keeps you from collapsing under tomorrow's weight. What feels like separation is often sacred training. As the prophet wrote in the scroll of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 3. For the vision awaits an appointed time. It hastens to the end, it will not lie. If it seems slow, wait for it. It will surely come. It will not delay. That word steadies your spirit in the middle of quiet seasons. The timing is not broken. The silence is not empty. The distance is not meaningless. God knows exactly why He has pulled you back, why He has limited access, and why He has not allowed every desire to bloom at once. He is guarding what He marked. He is shaping what He called. And when the appointed time arrives, what was hidden will not emerge weak. It will emerge ready. So receive this season without shame. Honor the work God is doing where few can see it. And if this message has strengthened your spirit, any support you choose to give will help this voice continue reaching hearts that are quietly fighting their own battles. And now you reach the place where you must stop shrinking to make other people comfortable with a calling they were never meant to define. This is the turning point. After the isolation, after the misunderstanding, after the silent battles that taught you how to stand without constant reassurance, you begin to see that your marked identity is not a burden to hide, but a mantle to carry. God did not shape you differently, so you would spend your whole life apologizing for the evidence of His hand. He marked you so you would walk with clarity, authority, and holy steadiness in a generation that keeps confusing compromise for peace. Stepping fully into that identity does not mean becoming proud. It means becoming settled. It means you stop negotiating with voices that only speak from limitation. It means you no longer panic when people misread your intentions, because you have finally learned that misunderstanding is not the same as misdirection. You know who has called you. You know who has kept you. You know who carried you through seasons that should have emptied your faith. That confidence changes the way you move. You stop chasing rooms where you must dilute your spirit to be accepted. You stop explaining every conviction to people committed to remaining blind. You stop begging for permission to be who God already anointed you to become. The Apostle Paul wrote in the letter to the Ephesians, chapter 2, verse 10, "For we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand, that we should walk in them." That word is not passive. It calls you into motion. You are God's workmanship, not a random collection of wounds and reactions. The difficult seasons did not erase your purpose. They carved depth into it. The rejection did not cancel your assignment. It clarified where your validation must come from. The delays did not waste your life. They taught you how to move with heaven's timing instead of human pressure. So now you rise differently, not with noise, but with conviction. Not with bitterness, but with discernment. Not with the need to prove yourself, but with the peace of someone who has finally accepted that being marked by God will never be fully understood by those who only judge by appearance. Let this be the season where you stop calling yourself too different and start calling yourself assigned. Let this be the moment you embrace the weight, the beauty, and the cost of your distinction. Comment 316 if you are ready to walk boldly in the identity God marked over your life from the beginning. As this message comes to rest in your spirit, do not let it fade like dew beneath a harsh morning sun. If these words have been a shelter over your weary heart, then let your light become a small lantern hung in the doorway, proof that this light found a home in you. If you know another soul wandering through a silent wilderness, let your share become a trail of embers across the night, guiding them toward hope. If heaven has stirred something in you here, let your comment be a seed pressed into the soil, a quiet sign that this word did not fall on stone. And if you wish to remain close to this stream of strength, let your subscription be like building your house beside a living spring, where your soul can return for water when the land feels dry, and should your heart feel gently led to give, let it be like laying one more piece of wood upon the altar, so this fire may keep burning for those still shivering in unseen battles.